Hello, everyone. Welcome to our next event, 12 Days of AUTMHQ. We're doing AI with AUTMHQ with our Director of Technology, Alex Seguin. He's going to take us through a wonderful presentation about the possibilities of AI and what we can look forward to with tech in the future. So I'll let him take it over from here.
Oh, let me actually. Sorry, guys. I have a second computer here, and I'm going to put this on mute. All right. So I'm Alex Seguin, and I'm going to present a little overview on AI, how it can be used in various applications, as well as go over how to use it in your business. So lots to cover here. Feel free to ask questions. This is an engaging conversation. We do want you to pulse us on YouTube or wherever you're seeing this video from. And of course, we'll be free to engage after as well through LinkedIn and others. So I'm going to go ahead and present. All right, so I'm presenting on my side, and it looks like, there it is, perfect. So first off, thank you for joining the AI with AUTMHQ. My background, just so you're aware, is more around sensor background, de-risking global development through multi-partner collaborations and advancing off-the-shelf AI models. And I'll discuss what that means in a bit. So prior to AUTMHQ, I was a US Air Force veteran, engineer, got an MBA, and did a few AI education programs through MIT, Harvard, as well as University of Texas. So a lot of hands-on training, a little small effort going on for education and AI as well, called the Excel AI Initiative. So ultimately, we've been conceptualizing this since 2020, before ChatGPT got really big. But a lot of my friends in the Harvard Business Analytics program, how do you think through a platform and an ecosystem designed for all ages to prepare people for the future? So with that, what is artificial intelligence? And what is machine learning, right? Artificial intelligence has a few sub-segments, machine learning, including neural networks, right? And there's various aspects of the top four, I would say, meaning natural language processing, stuff like voice to text from Google Translate, are services anyone can access through Google's APIs. APIs are ways to access capabilities through like a software level. And you have ChatGPT. ChatGPT, everyone is well aware of. So the largest large language model, and it's one of the best performing models in the world currently. So there's also computer vision. If anyone has seen Silicon Valley, this is the ability to detect something like a hot dog or various foods. People, Tesla self-driving uses this to detect cars and other applications as well. AI is also applicable for robotic solutions, such as the Tesla bot. Boston Dynamics Spot robot has some AI integrations as well, is their Atlas. So can be used to balance the robot as well as other applications. And the big thing we all know of, whether you're aware of it or not, is Facebook, TikTok, all these algorithms to generate leads for big companies such as Amazon, but all the tabular data and data science in order for someone to predict the capabilities for you to purchase something. So Google was one of the first to use this technology along with Amazon. But if you think Google used personalized ads, and I think it was 2004, 2005, and they doubled the revenue that year from like $3 to $6 billion. So you think about the impact of AI, it's like it can literally increase your revenue if you're able to target or get to your customers easier, more efficiently. This is an example just to show you prior to AI, machine learning, a lot of these statistical analytics models, people had to model things manually. And this, I just show an example where, how do you, how confident are you in hitting $10 million of sales revenue? And if you see this, you have various month-by-month sales, but like this little area, let's see if I can zoom in here, is basically the red dot is like your confidence and your intervals for confidence as well. but basically all the data is inside that red area for the most part. But like if someone said, hit a revenue number way up here, I wouldn't be as confident because it's hitting on the edges of statistical modeling capabilities. So something to be aware of. AI models have way more details and statistical modeling around it. And we'll go to an example after this. But basically, we have neural networks, which is the basis for AI. So stuff like detecting the number 9 here is possible for the first time. And what does that really mean is we can basically feed a computer a whole bunch of answers of someone writing the number 9. And with enough modeling, all those pixels and the correlation statistically, this is a neural net which mimics a human brain, for instance, basically can deduce that number 9. So I'm going to go through an example right now on how this was applied to a model I helped establish with a company called Athena AI. There you go. So what you'll see here is Top Gun Maverick was going on about a year ago. I went to a defense trade show called AUSA. Let me see where my mouse is, but I'm going to pause real quick. With AI today, you can basically see detection of jets. You can see what these are, SAMs, or surface-to-air missile systems. For anyone who's seen that movie, enough data of actual real-world applications, in this case, a military little river valley run for these F-18s, right? You can now go and detect those capabilities. What does that mean for us? In the defense world, it means you can detect things, you can identify threats, friendlies, enemies as well. You can also pinpoint the location through those pixels on the screen you see to estimate an approximate area. So this is just real cool because Tesla uses the technology for self-driving. In the defense world, this means potentially deploy like a second drone to an area as soon as you have a certain detection. And so this is really to show what's possible. I also am in the education space. So like, how you would use something like this in the education space is you would simulate and you would have capabilities such as this to train people on the real world impacts and where you can apply artificial intelligence for defense, education, as well as industrial applications. All right, let's go back to the presentation. So Tesla a few years ago, I believe this in 2019, they had the ability to detect bikes and cars, but they had like a bike on a car situation. And they discussed this in this real world example where you had eventually a bike on the back of a car. Well, for anyone driving and you have a bike, like you don't want to hit that bike, so your car might brake really hard, for instance. They took a whole process to revamp that model, and they were able to ask all the Teslas in the full network to go and look for other cars with bikes on the back, and then retrain that model and tell it the answer is like a bike with a car. And just by doing that, it made the vehicle safer. You think about a company like Tesla, they have this machine learning model engine, they call it like the machine learning engine, down so well. Like new data comes in and they're updating their platform, I want to say every 3 to 4 weeks. So the car gets better and better. Traditionally, we have regular coding where we test rules and inputs, and then in the future, like we basically tell the computer models answers. So that's just something to remember in how all this works. The conception for some of these applications is very interesting because when starting these efforts, we were thinking, how do you get an AI kit to people where that can become a trained volunteer, a trained individual to actually do machine learning models to help us train new models in the future. There's a lot of value in being able to do something like a, let's say, an active shooter on site at a local elementary school or middle school. If you can detect a weapon on site, there's a lot of companies working on this. How do you get all the cameras in the world to be able to upgrade so you can add AI compute in order to do the detections I showed you in the last few screens? We actually have a concept that's like an R2D2 concept So R2-D2 from Star Wars, where we took a Segway and converted it pretty effortlessly. And we ran this at Brooklyn STEAM 2021 through a summer program that was 5 weeks long. But you'll see here,
Easy.
and I don't know if I can
Way
turn
back,
that down,
back.
but
There you go. Control it. There you go.
basically you see a Segway with a weight control. This thing can hold 200 pounds. It uses a Raspberry Pi just to control it. But we have then it has one neural net processor on it, which means you can basically do detection and other capabilities on this robot. What's cool with that is there's a lot of capabilities out there now where you can do like almost a mini capability assessment with a smaller prototype, and on the way of doing something more professional, more capable, right? And this was designed with the intent of getting global development on a platform, or maybe we have stackable layers, and maybe one day we can have a refrigeration section and have it hold a beer or something, or your food while you're at Zilker Park here in Austin, Texas. But imagine if you had a robot rover that was akin to R2-D2, where a development team from all around the world could work on and improving the capability for that. So that's one of my dreams. I also I talked to a lot of people about how to do things like gaming with AI education and do something like robot versus human laser tag, because that shows the capability for defense, but it gets people learning, and you can have competitions of like Texas versus New York on a top team to perform on a certain course or a laser tag game. All right. So one of the fun aspects of my work experience is I've actually worked at a sensor company, and I was lucky enough to work at a company called Shield AI, as well as Athena AI. And Athena AI I consulted with. That was the Top Gun demonstration I did. But companies such as Shield AI have robots that they're adding AI capabilities to. And I'll kind of show you an example of that now, where you basically have a demo that on the high end, they're doing right. So they're showing a future case, but an area where sometimes you can't get eyes on an area. Let's see, loud. So you're seeing vehicles go through a river area automatically, drones dropping drones. But more importantly, you can make better decisions if you have real-time intel without putting humans at risk. Here you see laser targeting and other things, but this is just like some concepts. I don't know how far the military is on getting some of these off the ground, but you can imagine the capability is pretty interesting. And it's all about real-time decision-making and surveillance. So that said, one other key aspect of drone development is
Athena AI is a vision platform for AI machine learning where you can detect objects of interest. So whatever you train objects on, such as tanks or people with weapons, you can add that to your existing ecosystem on your aircraft or even your ground robot systems. So you basically can turn any aircraft into a smart aircraft.
Prior to this, the operator would have to have a really good sensor to zoom in. Now the software is telling you what's there, and it will track it as well. Not only the bad guys, but the good guys too.
Are they carrying a gun, or are they carrying a shovel or a fishing pole? We can also make sure we don't make any bad mistakes, knowing exactly what we see, and their tech is just amazing.
AI just lets you handle way more intake of data and helps prioritize the data in real time. We can plug and play that into the Red Cat ecosystem. Ultimately, it's, hey, we're already integrated with the software, so I'm going to add all these capabilities so we can make these decisions and accomplish our mission.
all right. So that video a second ago was all around a universal controller a company called Tomahawks has, and they asked me to come on site for this Teal 2 launch to help prepare for launch. And since I know thermal imaging and visual cameras really well, it was a project to showcase the AI capabilities. So today, one is able to take 4 aircraft, 4 robots, and switch the video feed on each one through the systems in place. What that means for everyone is you can now access the video feeds from these various systems on the same network, but more importantly, you can get different angles and different views. So something like even videography for a film. Imagine if you could have 8 camera shots all at once with different zoom levels and just shoot once, right? The capabilities are definitely applicable for entertainment and other applications. At the end of the day, how do we learn from defense, right? And one of these things are, if you look at like high-level metrics, decision speed, risk, and effect or outcomes. If you think about your business, how long does it take us to make a decision? We can go from 120 to 45 minutes, right? There's savings there. Also, with AI now, you can take in data and take your risk assessment and say like you have 30% risk in a certain decision and get that to higher confidence. So you reduce that to 15%. So a lot of these things are like, how do you make decisions smarter, faster, reduce the risk with some of these data-driven decision making? But more importantly, taking stuff like how quick can you make a decision? So all these small business owners, nonprofits out there, including AUTMHQ and all these bigger companies as well, everyone's looking at these tool sets to really streamline decision making. There's probably going to be a day where we can poll 1 million people and help better streamline certain decisions around even a voting process, or even what do you guys feel about a certain expansion of high buildings or taller buildings on the east side of Austin, for instance? Like some of these tools and decisions, we're going to be able to pull the broader masses. And you think about that, what that does for government is like more transparency, but also like the ability to use group consensus to fine-tune decision making, bring in experts as needed, and really reduce the risk over time. So on the military side, you see this acceleration opportunities. We have multi-drone ground robots or ground vehicles and teaming of those vehicles. But like at the end of the day, we have a team assessing risk, trying to determine an outcome or effect to deliver, and getting the approvals. So imagine you had an ecosystem that literally you can have real-time approvals done in the platform with this cybersecurity around it to really make sure that there's no hacking this process, right? So ultimately, solutions in the future will be more action insight generated, monitor reduce risks over time, so we can enhance real-time decisions. Here is a slide on machine learning models and what that means for something like cameras, but models can also mean like I have a model for certain decision-making criteria. I have a separate model for a second decision-making. This is to show the value of machine learning models for something like security cameras for that active shooter on site example. But if you look this model O2, imagine you can detect risks. You have alert-based systems inside the capability for detection. But the more models you can have and the easier you can switch them out, the more functionality you can add to existing cameras in the field. So I know University of Texas, good friend is looking at how to establish risk identification systems on campus. But imagine if University of Texas was, forefront in the AI space to test out maybe citywide concepts that could be applied to something like this. Ultimately, more cost-effective hardware is being put online. Cloud capabilities are getting cheaper, and scalable AI solutions are basically at your fingertips now with cloud. There's also edge, which means having a models on something like detecting with thermal imaging this dog on the left. Edge processing just means you can actually do it on site. Cloud compute is where you're taking APIs or cloud services. Cloud, you need Wi-Fi. So if Teslas were to run on cloud, the second you lose Wi-Fi, they would crash. You need to have also machine learning models on site or edge AI in order to have a car drive when you're not there. So just a high level overview of what that means. We offer a kit and training around AI. We're trying to establish an Austin-based cohort for adult learners who want to pick up this space. And we're also looking to partner with veterans and establish a course that's approved by the government on training and potentially even starting a machine learning or AI analyst role within the military, Army, Marines, Air Force, so that military can annotate their own images to train their models for their specific use cases. So definitely need, if anyone has contacts in the government, any help in that space would be great. Basically, we're getting to the point where these capabilities need to be as close to the actual end customer as possible, and self-sufficiency of that group has to be in place. Within the military, because sometimes they might have top secret clearance documents or images that the average person can't touch. So critical we have those capabilities inside the actual military to do their own model training. All right, so why is this important? Department of Homeland Security had an example for actual small business research about 1.5 years ago, but they're asking about like, how do you take streaming data and voice data and image data and feed it into something like a massive model that can make sense of a like an active fire situation on a rooftop, for instance. But imagine you have a person on a rooftop, you have fire, like people are recording sometimes, but if you can get drones on site, you can record from all different angles. And imagine that on-site operator can actually get that live intel with AI, simplifying the data as they're coming on site, so that public devices, drones, as well as other systems like the knowledge of chemical electricity, as well as other systems shutting down or just staying online, like gas in a building, are known. So in an ideal world, that person coming on as a first responder knows there's like a gas tank on the 4th floor and the fire's on the 3rd floor. So like what to do. But if we had AI all connected in a system that'll let an average person contribute towards reducing the risk for those first responders and on-site operators. So that's a real world example. I go to the security example here on the left as well, but you can use thermal detection, computer vision detection. This is me actually dressed up in a robber mask just to demo the capability. But you could also have like thermal imaging inside of a house or outside a house. As soon as someone comes in your window, you use that detection and turn on the lights. And that was the demo we did. So with that, one of the things I think is critical is something like Snowmageddon or Snowpocalypse here. As we have sensors, which is my background, sensor fusion, how do we establish real-time alerts, user reporting? But a lot of these systems in place, if you have a system, that means you can actually take all the data and determine response time, and then just document baseline scenario for a certain case, like the city of Austin. And that's one of these cases, they were telling us to boil water here in Austin during like a 1 week, snowpocalypse, I call it. Some houses didn't have gas or electricity. So like they ran out of utilities and they couldn't boil the water for safe drinking. So like in that case, we want volunteers to deliver water to various houses in need. But without the monitoring of these capabilities in one place, we can't address these things in real time, and we can't improve it for next year or 3 years down the road when things get worse, right? So very important, just sensor fusion, but also data in a system means that we can improve that with baselining. All right, let me see if I have one more video, and let's, before we end, yeah, I guess the example I'll go to is even stuff like Microsoft Teams and various systems. Now they can almost take all the voice to text transcripts. So this is like I want to say a 2-hour meeting of lots of words. And with AI, ChatGPT, we can actually go in real time and literally summarize the transcript. So this is from a course I'm doing with a whole family, actually, parents and their son. And, the AI basically said, hey, here are the groupings. Like we have AI and robotics. We talked about edge AI, talked about supervised, unsupervised learning, deep learning, role and bullying, awareness and prevention. So that's really the goal is we're generating a GPT for bullying to help high school and psychologists come on site to teach kids and have tools to address that in the future. This is, honestly, some of the coolest stuff in applications you can have, but AI is now taking our voice to text automatically. We're able to take that and now feed a separate AI model to summarize. And now we can literally take videos and summarize a whole lesson plan and use that for later. So AI is making it easier for teachers to actually come up with lesson plans in real time, adjust things as needed. And we even covered a marketing and then, a strategy for this at a high level that we basically said, hey, tell us LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts, all these other things. So as a starting point, this gets really good. I think the power of AI in the future is going to come down to, how do we establish as a whole, let me stop sharing here. Let's see if I can get there. How do we establish as a whole some of these capabilities so we can actually, let's see, use AI to summarize feedback and then use the human intelligence over that to pulse and fact check, and a whole team of people that are able to actually reduce the risk and use their experience to help make better decisions. So with that, I think I'm going to open up to questions. Justin, Renata, do you have anyone online actually asking questions?
There's no questions at the moment, but just people saying that the presentation was cool and that they liked it.
Cool. All right, with that, I have a few more minutes. I'm going to show one more example because I think it's a critical one, kind of building on this bullying case. Let me share my screen again if I figure out how to do that. All right. So I'm going to present one more time. This will be my gift to everyone else. Let's see, share screen, entire screen. All right. So we asked one of my friends the other day, you can generate GPT, like a custom GPT. It's one of the things a lot of companies are going to try to do. ChatGPT already has their capabilities. The idea is I think they're looking to monetize. So use my GPT, we can actually get better over time, but also get the feedback from that and make ours better. So this is something I just asked, like, hey, how do you find peace during the holiday rush, right? And now with some of these tool sets, AI is able to come up with some options, prioritize safe self-care, set realistic expectations, practice mindfulness, connect with nature. So ultimately, AI is only as good as the person generating the content. And what their mindset is like often comes down to how they're going to implement these tools, right? I did this cool example where I took, I think it was like 20 to 30 different religious frameworks, including Christianity, and I said, how are all these similar? So as we think about like uniting the world and mindset, as well as these cool capabilities, like how do you ask it to say, hey, what are all these things in common? And so one of the things I just think is fascinating to me is like, AI said, reduce this, or I basically said, reduce to 3 principles, and universal connection, cosmic harmony, internal wisdom were the words it chose. But the ability for us to think about like really connecting globally around the world means appreciating differences of opinions. And you see wars all the time pop up around the world, but like, how do we maintain respect for each other and have these concepts that literally bring these tool sets for a real world application? In this case, I basically said, hey, let's figure out what mindful actions we can actually have for thinking about oneness, right? And some of these things like recognize that your actions have ripple effects. Practice mindfulness in your daily activities. Consider how your choices impact others and the environment. So more and more I'm noticing around the world, people are getting more conscious and more aware, and people are challenging each other to become more aware and more conscious. I think now more than ever, just because of the global state of affairs. But what's cool is these tool sets can also be used for, finding passages in the Bible that resonate with you, right? Finding passages in other texts, like I asked the question, please produce written passages from spiritual frameworks, including Christianity, and like you see some of these here, right? But what's cool is there's also teachings from Buddha, right? Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule. Hinduism, For those who see me everywhere and see everything in me, I'm never lost, nor are they ever lost to me. So cool example to showcase what can be done. This was actually designed as a first pass guide for anyone to access. And I think this bullying tool as well will be something similar, where it generates something that is a first line of defense. So instead of going to the counselor, psychologist, being depressed for 3 months, hopefully we can catch these things in real time. But how do we leverage the mindset and the mindfulness tool sets so you can, use something like AI with your friends, AI with your family, make better conversations, and then just expand out from there in the use cases. Bring in group lessons for bullying on school with licensed psychologists and counselors, and really get to the root cause so that people don't end up traumatized at 40 years old or later down the road, impacting their relationships for a lifetime. So just really cool example. Again, this is what I'm calling Divinity Guide, but anyone can access this, so reach out to us as well. But the idea is, as we learn how chat GPTs and customized GPTs work, we can literally create custom ones for your work, custom ones for even capturing all your knowledge on a certain thing like product management, in my case, business management. But the more we can learn how to feed these things and work with them, the more you can have real-time at your fingertips results to help you make even more streamlined decisions, or actually help you refresh your memory. So that's all I had. I'm going to end with that and call it a day. Renata, Justin, you want to close out, or are we good?
Yep. I will go ahead and close out. Thank you so much for your time, Alex, and for this presentation. It was really great, and I learned a lot more
Cool.
about AI than I definitely knew 30 minutes ago. So
Nice.
thank you
I
so
appreciate
much.
it. Thank you, everyone.
And
All
for
right.
everyone that's tuned in with us this evening, just want to let y'all know that tomorrow we are having our Merry Merry Happy Hour. And on Saturday, we're having our holiday party. So definitely come hang out with us to see what else we have going on, to connect with our partners, our volunteers, and our automites, etc. But that's all, and have a great night, everyone.
Take care. Bye.
Mhm.